Hello and welcome to what I just said was a 2 versus 2 commentary between the L Clan guys. We've got, well, four pretty big names right here. We've got, in the blue, down to the very south of the map, we've got L Clan FH, and he is playing as the Vikings down here in the blue. And that's pretty interesting civ because we are on Arabia. But yeah, his teammate in the yellow, we've got El Clan Vimonster playing as the Persians, and I will just quickly find out because I've forgotten. I did search this up before the game started, and I wanted to try and remember these alternative nicknames because I believe that this is Chris. No, it's not. It's Dugao. So I'm wrong. There we go. In yellow, we've got El Clan Vimonster playing as the Persians. This is Dugao. So we've got Fiage and Dugao playing together. Two obviously big names. And on the other side of the map, in the green, on the southwest, we have El Clan Doliable, I think, playing as the Vikings. But he is, well, I believe that's Miguel. And up to the very north of the map, on the northwest, in the red, we have El Clan Risque, or Risk, playing as the Persians. I believe this is Chris. Though saying that, Chris would normally be playing in the green, so perhaps it is actually Chris who is... yeah, it's actually Chris who is Doliable. So yeah, I got that wrong once again. It's actually Chris in green and Miguel in the red. So I apologize for forgetting who is who, but you know, it's pretty difficult to keep track of you know, the 50 plus top players that change their nicknames around every other day. And I have to thank Fiage for staying constant and actually remaining with the name Fiage throughout, which is very nice. I'm glad that he is, you know, sticking to his roots. And by the way, Fiage is not secret sort of shorthand for Iron Age. It's actually Fi. It stands for feudal, not iron. So a lot of people wonder, like, is the Fi for iron maybe? No, it's actually just for feudal. He is feudal age. But I kind of doubt we're going to see a lot of feudal aggression from him. We will see. The maps then, we'll have a look, and we'll see what they've got to play with. Looks like Fiage has actually got a nice-ish map. He's got a back gold right here. And he's starting to wall off across the front here between these two patches of trees. I was almost going to say patches of grass. It hardly looks like grass, does it? Which means that he's got a nice little choke coming towards his TC, and he's got that back goal, which is nice, though his left flank is, well, bottom side, I guess, is fairly open, and I don't know, we'll see what he does. I think Fiage is going to be walling a little bit, but we will see. Yes, you are right, guys, in the chat. I do have my laptop next to me with the chat open, and I try and look at it as much as I can, but I struggle to watch the chat and cast in some level of detail at the same time. I'm not great at multitasking, but I do try. I do try and look at the chat when I get the chance. So just to clarify, because some people seem to be a little bit confused in the chat because I did say it wrong to begin with. The yellow is Dugao. The blue, of course, Fiage. Green is, just think green, Chris. So Doliable is Chris, and red is Miguel. And heaven forbid that Miguel finds out that I'm casting this game, because Miguel hates me. And no, he probably doesn't hate me. He just doesn't have many nice things to say about me on ASE Zone. So heaven forbid he finds out I cast this game. He might just have my head on a stick. Anyway, who is going to stop me? We've got Chris doing some walling already, and actually saying that his map is also fairly nice with these two groups of trees, which is nice. And again, a back gold. I mean, Chris has got a very beautiful map right here, and I wonder if that is actually going to influence his decision in how to play this one. I mean, usually the map does dictate quite a lot. You know, if you've got a really forward gold, you might decide to play a little bit extra aggressive. And if you've got, you know, a really nice back gold, you might decide, hey, I might actually wall up a little bit here and maybe take advantage of my nice closed map and maybe even do a fast castle. I mean, you could get away with that, but it would be risky because the map being Arabia, very open, very prone to early attacks. And FH coming up with that barracks right there, looking for a drush and starting to build some militia straight away. Now let's see if Chris has scouted that. It looks like he has, and if he hasn't, he is about to, because his scout is running right into that barracks there. So he knows what's up. Chris has got his eye on the ball. And apparently Chris has been playing very well recently, so that is good news. We want to see Chris in top form, because with Warriors coming up, there is no doubt that Chris will be facing up against Doubt in the tournament at some point. So it would be great to see these two actually, fighting it out on a flank war in a team game for Warriors coming, and that is probably gonna happen. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, because the two legends get to fight it out once again, and it'll be great to see for everyone. But it looks like Chris, ignoring the fact that VH is going up with the age rush here, he is just going up to the feudal age on 22 population, pretty fast feudal, and it looks like he is gonna go, well, he might pop out a couple of spears here, but it looks to me like he wants to go for scouts in this position. But you know what, actually, it wouldn't really make a huge amount of sense for him to go scouts here. Archers would be preferable, as he is up against militia, and he's also playing as the Vikings, where the scouts are going to be much better in the feudal age. Sorry, not the scouts, the archers are going to be much better in the feudal age, because they can upgrade straight into crossbow. But Chris here, unable to finish his barracks, and taking a little bit of punishment on that villager, going to have to run back towards the TC, just to make sure he keeps that villager alive. The barracks there on 89%, but VH is blocking it and denying it. That is not happening today, Chris, and he is going to have to fight with those villagers there, bring them into combat, and that of course is costing him a little bit of villager gather time, and Fiege gets away scot-free with 10 HP on that militia, and a slight amount of HP lost on his scout. But we'll see what Chris does. I think an archery range would make the most sense here, but it looks like he's not taking any gold, so I mean, we could probably see some scams coming out straight away, which isn't going to be a bad idea either, because we can probably expect to see some archers from Fiege once he goes up to the feudal age, unless he decides to follow it through with a fast castle, which looks unlikely given the fact that he is still wide open at the moment. But we'll keep an eye on that, and we will see. We've got in the north, we've got Miguel going up with a stable, and it looks like he is going to just go with a pretty standard scout rush. Meanwhile, Degao, though, is completely passive at the moment. It looks like he actually is going to pull off a fast castle here, which is a pretty risky move to make, considering that his opponent is starting a scout rush. He might add a couple of spears. In fact, he already is adding those spearmen in, and there's a stable and blacksmith going up for him. Looks like he wants to go straight into knights, and that could work out very well, provided that this feudal aggression from Miguel doesn't do too much damage and doesn't block off or damage Degao's eco too much. Now, Degao's map is pretty open still. It's not like he's done some mega wall here, and Miguel coming forwards with this villager as well could be a little bit of a pain in the ass for Degao, and he may lose a little bit of gather time, but I don't think this is going to be too huge. He's already got the spearmen out. He's just got to be careful of this gold at the back, because he will need quite a lot of gold income if he is going to go straight into knights. And Degao walling up this gold pile already, well aware of what is coming his way, and it seems like he is just sorted over that side. Now, archers from Chris, and he was quite slow to get those archers out, I think. It looks like he's actually going to go very slowly into the feudal age, making this army. I mean, what's he got? He's got 2-3 archers out so far. And meanwhile, looks like Fiege is just not walling up, but kind of playing a little bit more defensively with this defensive tower on his watchtower, and with a misplaced archery range, putting up some archers of his own. At this stage in time, I'd say that Fiege and Chris pretty close, but neither of them really that far ahead. I mean, they're both pretty slow on the military production here. Obviously, Fiege with that rush causing his feudal time to be later, and Chris with that much delayed barracks with these archery ranges coming up quite late, and obviously quite late to take gold as well, because he wasn't taking gold by the time these first ranges came up. So, we'll have a look what's going on in the north. This seems to be where the majority of the action is at the moment. We've got Miguel coming in with these scouts, trying to bait and lure these spearmen away. to catch them off guard, maybe kill them off as well. And this tower going up in this wood line, pretty ineffective actually. Looks like Dogau's just dealt with that fine. I mean, that's not hugely impacting on his wood here, but he doesn't have a second lumber camp anywhere at all, and he is literally relying on these two stables now to be able to get the knights out and push this scout rush away. Two knights coming straight out, and Dogau is, well, it's a little bit of a risky one, but it looks like it might just work out as long as he can keep these villagers alive. And pulling back towards the TC just in time, the knight's going to pop out, and it doesn't look like Miguel's going to get much done up here, to be honest with you. That tower almost seems like a waste to me. He's not forced a rebuild of this lumber camp from Dogau at all, and we've not seen a counter tower either, so Dogau still has 200 stone here as well. And if we have a look at Miguel up in the north, obviously he is going to be very slow up to the castle age, because he did make three scouts, yeah, so I mean obviously that is quite an investment in the food. That is of course going to slow his castle time down somewhat, and Miguel, well, just going to have to add more villagers to gold here and make sure he gets the food for the castle age. Not a lot else he can do in the meantime apart from wall up and try and defend. Wow, Miguel though managing to pick one villager off still, a weak villager around a farm here, or on a farm here, getting sniped. But these scouts, overall, I think been a little bit of a waste. They've not done a huge amount of damage, and maybe Miguel will try now and go to Fiage, who is actually open at the back. So, I mean, this front is very walled, and I don't think Chris is going to push in there with any ease at all. But the scouts coming at the back could be a little bit of an awkward position for Fiage. These villagers on the deer here are very, very far from the town centre, and those scouts probably going to do quite a bit of damage if they come in. Fiage with no spears at all, but moving his archers to the back of his base, probably communicating with Dogau, and Dogau letting him know that there are scouts on the prowl. So Fiage has actually got his army in a pretty decent place, but Miguel not going to go to Fiage at all. Looks like he wants to go straight back up to Dogau there, but Dogau at the moment the first with knights on the map. We've got Miguel going up to the castle age, Fiage on the way up, and well, Chris is pretty far behind with that castle age upgrade. And in fact, I'm pretty surprised. You know, he's made quite a big army here, a lot of archers, but he's walled up and he's not really doing a whole lot with them either. He is kind of just, you know, pumping them out, sitting defensively and waiting for that castle age upgrade so he can upgrade them to crossbow and start doing some serious damage. But I don't know if that is really worthwhile. I don't know. I mean, he probably has a larger army than Fiage at the moment. He might have been able to do a little bit of damage, but it wouldn't have been easy. I mean, this tower protecting Fiage's gold, this TC at a choke point, he wouldn't have realistically been able to hit Fiage too hard, to be honest with you. And you know what? Miguel not being able to hit Dogau that hard either. I don't think Dogau has lost any villagers just yet. We'll have a quick look. He's killed 4 units, lost 4 units. I think he lost a spearman. Maybe he lost an archer, or well, not an archer. He didn't make an archer. Maybe he's definitely not lost a knight yet, has he? Oh, maybe he has. He lost his scout, didn't he? Yeah, so maybe a couple of villagers going down, but not a huge amount for Dogau. And everyone now is up to the castle age, apart from Chris, who is still feudal. And, well, it's about time, because Dogau beat them to the castle age in, well, by quite a substantial amount of time. So Chris playing, as I say, really defensively. 2 more ranges going up though, and he is really going to step on the gas with the crossbow production. He is, what, 65% up to castle now? But that crossbow upgrade is done for Fiage, the +2 attack, and range is done for Fiage as well, and he's got knights outside of his base. So Chris got to be very careful, and at the moment, I don't know, maybe a siege workshop would be very beneficial to him, because it is pretty much 2-on-1 here. Fiage and Dogau seemingly looking for the weakest, or to take out the weakest link here. They will take down this house, and it's not going to take long. They've got the hill advantage attacking downhill, and they've got the crossbows here on the hill as well, meaning that the knights can also put out a little bit of damage. Chris forced off of his farms at the front. He's pincered in towards his TC with these buildings. But these knights from Dugao getting in now, and they don't have any upgrades. But they are going to run straight into that town center, and they are going to do a lot of damage. Archers here from Chris getting taken down before he can do that crossbow upgrade, which is really unfortunate. He wants to have as many archers as possible when that upgrade comes in. A lot of those getting taken down. Chris losing villagers in his woodline. And where is Miguel? Well, he's on the way in with some knights, but they just a little bit slow to get over here. And I'm starting to wonder now, is Fiage and Dugao going to lose their units back here? Are they going to just take out as much of Chris's eco as they can and sacrifice their entire army? It looks like they might. I don't know. I mean, Miguel plus 1 defense and bloodlines done. No upgrades at all from Dugao at this point in time. And there's a lot of crossbows here now with +2 attack as well. So Dugao's knights going to go down very, very quickly. And you got to wonder, have they done enough eco damage to justify that attack? Have they done enough eco damage to justify losing their army? And, you know, perhaps they have. Perhaps they have. That really hurt Chris there. And Chris cannot easily sustain 4 archery range crossbow production right now. So we've got some camels popping out now for Dugao. That's the nice thing about playing a civ like the Persians. You do have a little bit of flexibility from the stable. You can just switch into those camels if you wish. And it does work very well, especially when you're against another civ that is likely to be making knights. So this works very well. But one thing I've noticed here is that, well, Miguel, +2 defense and bloodlines are done. And for Dugao, absolutely no upgrades at all on these cavalry units. Obviously, Fiage back here now in the defensive position, but Dugao up to 3 TCs. And it looks like he wanted to do those 3 TCs very quickly and then do the upgrades afterwards. But they really hit Chris's eco quite hard, and they've certainly put him behind. But Chris and Miguel do have the score lead at this point in time, and they're looking, well, not too bad on the army front. Anyway, the upgrades are certainly there, and of course, it looks like even Chris now has the upgrade advantage over Fiage, and Fiage now the one to have to bear the brunt of this attack by the looks of things. Downhill attacks from these crossbow of Chris, and Fiage just going to micro back towards his TC, hitting and running so he can get under that town center and try and take down these knights without taking too much arrow fire from the crossbow from Chris that are following up with this. But it looks like those knights from Miguel aren't going to do a huge amount of damage. They're going to go straight to that wood line up in the north. And we've got a very quick wall off here coming in from Fiage. Those knights, though, kind of just dancing around, not really doing a whole lot. They're just taking that arrow fire from the TCs. Don't seem to be really targeting any particular villagers. And I really don't think that attack was great at all. I think maybe Fiage losing 5 or 6 crossbow there at a push. But these knights from Miguel, very ineffective, unable to really do any damage, and just sitting around here taking a lot of arrow fire and not achieving a whole lot, unfortunately. That attack completely cleaned up, and suddenly the score lead now lies with Fiage and Dugao once again. Dugao just getting that Bloodlines upgrade as well now, so he's going to start getting the, I believe he'll be getting the defensive upgrades, yeah, pretty soon. He's already got 40% on the +1 defense. So these guys looking a little bit better once again now in the military count. In fact, we'll have a quick look at the military. Wow, not bad actually, not bad. They're all about even on military. We've got 11 units from Dugao, we've got 12 from Chris, 12 from Fiage, and 13 from Miguel. Miguel with quite a few knights by the looks of things. But at the moment, it doesn't seem like he's able to do a huge amount of damage with those knights. He doesn't seem to be, killing many villagers or hitting their eco very hard. They're just kind of there. They're existing. They're supporting Chris when they are with Chris, that is. Chris, though, getting the hill advantage over Fiage here. Fiage with the numbers disadvantage as well. And that's a nice little pick for Chris there. Chris, though, just up on the 3 TCs. I think he was probably a little bit delayed getting that third town center out. Obviously, he had his whole wood line disturbed here, and I don't think he could afford that second town centre very quickly. So, for Chris at the moment, I think he's playing catch-up a little bit, and indeed, it shows in the population tab for the eco. Chris with just 47 villagers at this moment in time. VH with 62. Dugao, though, up there with 72 in number 1 position. And like I said, he did focus on getting those town centres out very quickly, and delayed his upgrades on these knights and camels for some time, just so he could get those TCs up and running as fast as he possibly could. And now he has quite a substantial villager lead. In fact, he's got 10 more villagers than Miguel at this point in time. So those resources are flooding in, and Dugao is going to be able to keep up that military production without a hitch, as well as concentrate on booming his eco as much as he can. So this game so far has been pretty nice. I mean, the scores have been a little bit back and forth, but I do feel like Chris has been behind by quite a bit, and it does show by looking at that population tab. But if we have a look at the military tab, the units killed and lost, it is pretty even for everybody, actually. VH so far losing the most units, and I think Chris propping himself back up in this game by killing more units than he's lost at this point in time. But we'll see what Miguel can do. At the moment, he's killed 12 and lost 13, so he's not done a huge amount of damage with these knights, considering that they did have a massive upgrade advantage over Fiege and Dugao for quite some time. So we'll have a quick look at the score tab once again, and Fiege now quick walling up. Can he do it? No, no, man, I thought he could do it for a second. Miguel trying to sneak right in there. Fiege trying to wall him out, of course, but wow. Not bad at all. Miguel going to go back, decides he can't fight against crossbow like that, and there's the reason why. These crossbow massed up enough at the moment that they can literally just one-shot these knights. Meanwhile, we've got Dugao going up to the Imperial Age in a very, very good time, actually, considering that he's been making knights and camels as well. He is, what's that? What is it? 26-27% up to the Imperial Age now. And if we have a look at everyone else, VH way off the mark, Chris way off the mark, and Miguel got the gold, but nowhere near enough food at this point in time. But that's the University and Monastery, so he is prepared to go up. And, well, I kind of doubt he'd buy food at this point in time. But, yeah, that gold ticking in. Of course, that will be useful for those Imperial Age upgrades. But for now, he is going to have to just sit tight and wait for the food to trickle into the bank until he can click up to the Imperial Age himself. So Dugao getting a really big lead here up to Imp, and that's going to be quite impactful on the game if he starts to push out straight away. If he goes up too early and doesn't have a big enough economy, then it can be quite difficult to really do a huge amount of damage once you get up, and that kind of Imperial Age advantage is not that great. But if Dugao gets up in a good time, which he is doing, and if Dugao can actually make some impact on the game due to being up to the Imperial Age, then that would be fantastic, and he can actually really set Chris and Miguel back by quite a ways. So we'll have a look at the military tab just to see who's ahead here. Now we've got, well, not military tab, population tab. I'm still getting used to these damn tabs. We've got 35 crossbows out for Fiege and 36 for Chris, and the reason I looked at that is because Chris did seem to push out for a second there, but he is going back, and that could be a costly mistake, actually. Well, perhaps not mistake, but Chris not pushing forwards when he did does mean that Fiege has now got time to build this castle, and I know that Fiege is on the hill here, and Chris would have been pushing uphill. But if Chris had got there a little sooner, perhaps he could have slowed this castle down, perhaps he could have even denied it for now, and that would have actually been very beneficial for Chris in this position, because that castle on the hill is going to make it all that more difficult for Chris to push in a little bit later on. And meanwhile, Fiege now leaving that castle undefended to send his crossbow across the map to support Dugao at the front, and Chris is coming in, but look, just a little bit late, and he's not going to get there in time for that castle to go up. So that castle will go up, and Fiege doesn't have to worry now about leaving his army back at home to defend, because that castle is going to start doing a lot of damage to Chris's units if he sits under there for too long. So we've got the +4 defense upgrade now for Dugao. He's got those knights in there. He's not got a huge number of units, but the cavalier upgrade has just completed. And that is now going to be hitting Miguel's economy quite hard. Obviously, Miguel does not at the moment have +1 attack, or well, he doesn't have fletching or bodkin arrow basically. So that means that these guys with the +4 defense, with 6 pierce armor, are only going to take 1 damage per arrow, meaning that they can sit underneath these town centers for days and not have to worry at all about that. And at the moment, obviously, Imperial Age upgrade for Miguel as well, but Fiege is here to support this, and there's not a huge number of units here from Dugao, but with this crossbow behind it, these knights will get taken down very quickly. And of course, there's camels there to lay a little bit of extra damage into these knights as well. Miguel in a bit of trouble, and well, at the moment, Chris not responding to go and help out, which could be a little bit of a problem. We've also got Imperial Age now for Fiege. Chris not even clicked up yet, and Fiege, of course, going to go straight away with that Arbalest and Bracer upgrade at the moment. And it looks like Miguel, in this 2v1 situation, could be losing a hell of a lot. We've got more Cavalier streaming across the map from what looks like 5 stables at a time. And yes, I mean, +4 defense and a lot of knights here for Miguel, but he's unable to really do the damage at the moment. He's fighting between these stables, and you may have noticed he did just delete a stable there, and that is because he needed to get some access to these crossbows, which are now Arbalest, and this is looking really painful for Miguel at the moment, losing a lot of units, and of course these Arbalests just sitting here, piling in the damage all over the place. Meanwhile, we've got Dugao in the back of the map, starting to hit Miguel's economy. A little bit of a split attack there, and Fiege losing a few Arbalests. They're going down pretty quickly now as Chris's army of crossbows come in to support. Looks like Miguel and Chris will be able to push this away, but that is a huge costly fight for Miguel. And we have a quick look at the military tab. Miguel killing 51 units and losing 72. Fiege, though, losing 89 units so far, as the rest of those Arbalests get cleaned up by Miguel's Cavalier. Though, I've got to say, Fiege killing a lot more units in total, so it does make up for the fact he did just lose a lot more. And you have to bear in mind as well that Arbalests do cost considerably less than the Cavalier in this situation, not only in the upgrade costs, but also in the cost to make each unit. So 77 losses for Miguel is quite a big deal when you consider that Dugao has just lost 36 units so far this game, yet managed to do a hell of a lot of damage, hitting Miguel's economy once again in the north of the map, killing off villagers back here as they run towards that town centre. And Dugao back at home, just, you know, sitting, booming up on 4 TCs. His economy is now huge. He's got a lot of gold miners, and he can support that production of knights all day long. Until, of course, he can't because he runs out of gold, at which time he'll already have trade up. There's the Paladin upgrade coming in, and that's going to be done in a really nice time, actually. I'll be interested to see if Miguel has Paladin on the way, and yeah, he does not. His food income has been crippled due to this raiding, and I mean, yeah, it's been pretty tough for him so far this game. Chris is here to help, though. He does have his crossbows, but Fiege and Dugao attacking now on the south of the map, looking to hit Chris's base. And this is really nice because they knew that Chris sent his army up here to protect Miguel. They just switch. They just go, right, that's it. We've had enough of attacking Miguel. We're going to go to Chris now because everybody is defending Chris's base and Miguel's base, and Chris is wide open. So this is looking really nice now for Dugao and Fiege. They still have that score lead as well, with a good 1,300 score lead at the moment, and the Onager upgrade now done for Fiege as well. And that Onager upgrade is going to be pretty huge. We've got elite skirmishers coming out for Chris here. And those skirmishers will die in one shot from the Onagers. So that's a pretty painful thing to have to deal with, and they are going to be taking down these ranges as well, which means less military production for Chris, and he will have to rebuild that further back or switch into something else. But at this moment in time, going into Berserk's probably not the best idea, but we'll see if he's doing it anyway. No, of course not. His gold is very low, and he is not getting that gold income at the moment. Paladin now done for Dugao. +4 attack, +4 defense, and those paladins are ready to roll. There's the GG, and Miguel and Chris residing right there as Chris's army slowly move back towards Slowly moves back towards his own base. Now, Chris is actually, well, he said he was 200 population there. I don't think he was. He was 142, so I don't know where he was getting that from. Very far from 200 population, Chris. Perhaps he read 142 as 200 for some odd reason. But yeah, that was a pretty good game from Degao and FH. I think they played that one very well. I gotta say, Chris, not the best performance. I think, he played very defensively when he really didn't need to play that defensively. He could have been trying to pick away at FH's eco. I know FH had that tower up on the main gold there, but he could have always tried to come around the back and maybe hit this gold here, or sorry, not this gold, this wood. He could have tried to come around the back where these deer were being taken, for instance. But no, he just kind of holed himself up in his base and just kind of let FH come to him. And, Degao also very well played, doing a very kind of risky fast castle. And, of course, with Miguel going scouts, he was very slow up compared to Degao there, which gave Degao the edge going with that boom. And from there, I mean, the Paladin upgrade is just so powerful, so strong. And I don't think Miguel was anywhere near getting that. We have a look at his stables here. No, he's got the resources in the bank at the moment, but he didn't do that upgrade. And I don't think if he did that upgrade, I don't think he would have been able to sustain many more cavalry units anyway. So there we go. A quick game for you, a quick 2v2.